Hi, and welcome to episode 3 of Aaron Talks About Chinese Dramas. So in this episode, I'm going to be talking about Ashes of Love. So I originally knew Ashes of Love by its original title, which is Heavy Ash, Sweet Like Frost. So I'm just going to talk a little bit about the summary here. So 4,000 years ago, the daughter of the flower deity Jinmi was born. The flower deity Zifan had foreseen that Jinmi would go through a love trial, and after suffering herself from being trapped between two men and the tragic consequences that came from that, she sought to protect her daughter from suffering the same fate. So she did this by feeding her some kind of a pill that would prevent her from feeling or understanding what romantic love was. She commanded that this and Jinmi's true identity as her daughter be kept from her and basically from everyone else. So after Jinmi's birth and the flower fairy died, the flower realm was basically sealed off so that Jinmi couldn't leave. So now it's 4,000 years later. Jinmi has grown up thinking she's a grape sprite. She's never left the flower realm and is severely sheltered, innocent, and carefree. But this all changes when Zhu Feng crashes into her life and the fate her mother tried to protect her from can't be avoided. So the genre of this show is that it's a romance, wuxia, and fantasy. 63 episodes. It ran from August 2018 to September 2018, and episode length was 45 minutes. So I'm just going to say stop here. I'm going to be talking about the characters now, and there are going to be spoilers. So if you don't want to be spoiled for the show, I would suggest stop watching now. So you have Yang Zi as Jinmi. So Jinmi was raised as a grape sprite, but she's actually a six-petaled frost flower, daughter of the flower deity, Zifan, and also the daughter of the water deity. And Jinmi later becomes the water deity herself when her father is killed. She's naive and altruistic, and due to the pill she swallowed at birth, does not understand the meaning of romantic love. You have Deng Lun as Zhu Feng. Zhu Feng is the second prince of the heavenly realm and the legitimate heir to the heavenly throne. He is the fire deity, god of war. He's also the commander of the divine armies of 8 directions. His true form is that of a phoenix. He's born as King Yi Hui in Hui Kingdom, a mortal warrior in his mortal trial. He's later reborn. After his mortal trial, he's later reborn as the Demon King after Jinmi betrays and kills him. You have Liu Yunji as Run Yu. Run Yu is the heavenly realm's eldest prince and is also the night deity. His true form is that of a dragon, and although his outward appearance is that of a common gentle person, he is actually very scheming. He later becomes a very scheming and conniving person. He's later on seizes the throne after the empress, after his real mother biological mother dies at the hands of the empress. He rebels against heaven, his father and the heavenly empress, and seizes the throne. You have Wang Yifei as Suhi. She's the princess of the bird tribe. She's arrogant and proud. She wields responsibility in securing power within the bird tribe. She's a close ally of the heavenly empress, and she commits many cruel deeds in her bid to obtain power and win Zhu Feng's heart. Her true form is a peacock. You have Chen Yuqi as Lu Ying. She is a demon princess. She's a cheerful and forthright person. She's a heroic warrior. She has a tragic romantic relationship with her bodyguard, Muqi. You have Zhao Tingwei as Muqi. He's a reaper who has dual identities. He was forced to commit even evil deeds for the heavenly empress because she basically poisoned him. And only she has the antidote, but also because of her manipulations and control, but he still has a kind heart. he has a tragic romantic relationship with his ward Liu Ying. So two of my favorite side characters is Azia Jiyuan as Dan Zhu, the matchmaker, Moon Immortal, Fox Immortal. The Moon Immortal Yujia, his true form is that of a fox. He's the Heavenly Emperor's younger brother and Zhu Feng and Ru Yu's uncle. He's known for his mischievous personality and youthful looks. He's in charge of love and marriage of all mortal beings. He's earnest in bringing Zhu Feng and Jin Mi together as a couple. You have Liao Jingfeng as Lord Puchi or Yan Yu. He's a snake immortal. After getting banished from the heavenly realm, he was adopted by Su Li and became one of her godsons. He goes along with his adoptive mother's schemes. He befriends Jin Mi after saving her from the attack of Qinchi 900 years ago. So these are my favorite side characters because they're really funny and they made me laugh a lot throughout the drama. So my thoughts on the show. I love Ashes of Love. It's definitely my top 5. I actually haven't gone back to rewatch the entire show, but I have gone back and rewatched my favorite episode numerous times. And what episode is that, you might be wondering? That would be episode 60. I believe when Jin Mi and Zhu Feng are finally reunited and get married. I've watched this episode so many times. The Moon Immortal makes me laugh, and Yan Yu as well are my 2 favorite characters. They made me laugh a lot, especially in this episode. They're just so funny. So basically in this episode, they kidnap Jin Mi from the heavenly realm because she's actually due to marry Run Yu and they don't want her to marry Run Yu. So they kidnap her and take her to the demon realm where Zhu Feng is the demon lord at this time. And they want to try to have her marry him instead of having him marry Su He. So they were actually going to knock out who they thought was Su He and have Jin Mi take her place. But when they went into the room and the Moon Immortal went to clock her in the back of the head, she turned around and it turned out to be Liu Ying. And so she and Liu Ying and Zhu Feng had a plan where they were going to knock out Su He and have Liu Ying take her place so that Su He would be forced to admit she swapped this stone. So Liu Ying made a last minute decision to use Jin Mi while helping her get under Jin Mi instead, because she felt like she would be better suited. So basically in the demon realm, as part of the ceremony, when you're getting married, they have like this magical rock. And if the couple is like, if the relationship and the love between the couple is true, when they drop a drop of their blood into this rock, it will glow. And that shows that the relationship is true, and then they'll be allowed to get married. If it doesn't glow, then they can't get married. So Zhu Feng and Liu Ying knew that it wouldn't glow for them because their relationship is not true. So anyway, so she was planning to take Suyi's place. They had knocked her out. And then she was going to wake up later when the wedding ceremony was already underway. And so when she ran in saying that was like, this was an imposter or whatever, then she'd be forced to admit that she'd swapped the stones because Zhu Feng and Liu Ying had seen her do it and they wanted her to admit it. But Liu Ying ends up using Jin Mi instead. And it's hilarious because when the Moon Immortal goes into the room and goes to like hit her in the back of the head, when they're like undressing her, he's not really paying attention to where he's like putting his hands because he keeps staring at her head. And she's like, wait, he's like, what is your head made of? Like, because it's so hard. This really made me laugh a lot. And then she just like snaps at him to like help her take off her headdress. So yeah, so they end up doing it end up being Jinmi, and then of course they drop the blood and the relationship rings true. Which at that point, like Liu Ying comes in, and then he's left wondering who's under the mask. But basically at that point, they've already like dropped their blood in, they've done their vows to heaven and earth and each other and the parents, so they're pretty much married. It was pretty funny because up till this point, like Yan Yu was controlling her because he can control like people like puppets, and she just like snaps and she's like, stop controlling me. And you can see him literally get zapped as she like breaks away from his control. And he's like, since when has the puppet master become the puppet? And then he runs away. I think he goes to the flower realm at that point, but I just found that like super funny. So I've also rewatched Jinmi's death scene numerous times. I don't know why, but if I could call a death scene beautiful, it would have to be her death scene, as morbid as that might sound. Yeah. But at the end of the day, I think the person whose fate is the most tragic is Rune Yu, because his stepmother, the Holy Empress, has always kind of like looked down on him because of his illegitimate birth. She never speaks well of him. Yeah, and so she basically like talks about how he's like basically a snake in the grass, and it basically becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, because he doesn't start out as one. He's just like this calm and gentle person, but circumstances basically force him to become this way, become like cunning and conniving and manipulative. Like, yeah. So the Heavenly Empress, basically his biological mother, is killed at the hands of the Heavenly Empress. And when he finds out, it causes him to rebel against heaven. And then he kills his own father and the Heavenly Empress and ascends the throne. But to be honest, like, I'm kind of glad his biological mother didn't raise him, because from snippets that they show when he was still a child, she was an awful mother. Like, she didn't want, because he was like the son of the Heavenly Emperor, and her, like, he like his true form is that of a dragon. But kids would make fun of him and stuff like that. And so she was like tried to chop off his horns, and like she wanted him to look normal, basically. And so she was like willing to hurt him to make sure that happened. And she was kind of crazy. So I think for this once, even though the Heavenly Empress didn't treat him very well, and she looked down on him, his mother treated him way worse. And so that's why, like, I didn't really understand this, like, when he rebelled against heaven, when his mother died at the hands of the Empress, because I was like, you've not been with her since you were a child, and she like heavily abused you, like, yeah, to the point of maiming you to make you look normal. So why would you? Yeah, I don't know. I was like, yeah, neither the Heavenly Empress or his mother are good people. But yeah, I was like, why would you want to rebel against heaven for somebody you didn't even know, who treated you horribly as a child? I don't know. Anyway, I just felt really sad for him. And basically, like, he and Jinmi actually had a marriage contract ever since she was born. And so she, I don't think they ever expected it to be gone through, like the marriage or whatever. I don't know. But once he realized she was falling for Zhu Feng, he became bitter and resentful, and to the point where he was doing everything in his power to keep them apart. Like, she has this special, the pill inside of her where she can't feel romantic love. And at one point when she's in the human realm, going through her mortal trial, she gets attacked by a passing magical ninja or whatever it was, and the pill gets damaged. And so she actually starts to feel love for Zhu Feng and feels like, even though it's just a trickle, and Run Yu actually goes out of his way to repair the beads so she'll stop feeling those feelings, because he would rather that she not understand romantic love in order to stay with him, which is actually really selfish, I think. But yeah, he becomes really resentful of Zhu Feng and the fact that Jinmi loves him. So, but she ends up leaving him in the end anyway, because after she's basically tricked by Su He into believing that Zhu Feng killed her father. So at their wedding ceremony, I believe it's their wedding ceremony in the heavenly realm, she actually stabs Zhu Feng in the back and kills him. And then he's reborn in the demon realm and becomes the demon lord. And when she kills him, she actually expels the pill from herself. And at that point, she realizes the consequences of what she's done and that she did love him. She just didn't understand it. And so she ends up, it was basically her journey to try and like make up to him, even though she knows that she can't make up for what happened or what she did. And Sui even points it out later when she like admits that she swapped the stone or whatever, that, you know, that Jinmi stabbed him in the back. And Jinmi says, I know that. She's like, I know I can never make up for that. Like, I've done bad things. But she's like, you've also done bad things and you but she's like, I was tricked into it by you. Like, she wasn't trying to deny her own responsibility. Yeah. Suhi did a lot of really evil things to try and be with Zhu Feng. But yeah. So at the very beginning, you have Jinmi, who like basically is a very flat character. Like, she's never had any adversity. She spent like the first 4,000 years of her life basically imprisoned in the flower realm. So she's like very, I guess, one-dimensional. And then throughout the trials and tribulations she goes through, she has a lot of character development. I know a lot of people find her really annoying and a lot of people don't like her, but I actually really liked her. And what else? Yeah, so Ashes of Love is one of my favorites. It's in my top 5. So in episode 4, I'm going to be talking about a drama, Be My Cat. This is a lighthearted and funny drama. So if you want to be notified of any upcoming episodes, just hit the notification bell below and please subscribe.